I know just the person to help with this one.
Hey, it's James, and this is Tune Up Your Typeform Quick Fixes, where we take real customer forms and tune them up using the latest and greatest Typeform features. Okay, so our guest on today's show is Photograph My Product, a company that does exactly what the name implies. There's nothing else on the card. I guess they photograph products. They're worried that the lead gen form on their website is a little bit static and would love to use some AI features to spice things up. Let's see how we can help. And today's tuner is me. Yep, I'm not just a pretty face.
I also work in the Typeform community, helping people day in, day out with their forms.
Okay, so now we know what we're up against. I better get to work. Okay, so let's have a look at Nic's existing form. So what you do is you select the type of product that you want to be photographed. You add your email address for your estimate, choose how many products you want photographed, and then you add your details in a contact block. And then before you go, there's an open text question for any notes about the shoot, which you submit. And then you get this ending screen thanking you and giving you some more information about how to get in touch. One thing we thought we'd do first of all, as you can see, that you kind of just jump into this form. So this is the back end of the form, obviously. You kind of just jump into it, and there's no real branding either. So two things to quickly rectify that. The first one is we've added a welcome screen. So a very, very clear call to action in terms of the value that the person's going to get from filling in this form. So yeah, they've got 60 seconds and they can tell us a little bit more about their products, and we will send them a free estimate. As you can see, the branding here looks a bit different to this one, right? So what we've done is we've used the beautiful kind of styling and color scheme of Photograph My Product, and we've actually used the Match My Brand feature, which you can use here. And now you can create a theme using the brand colors, logo, font, etc. that will make your form nice and on brand, especially great when you're using this for embedding it into your website. So that's the styling taken care of. Now let's have a look at the questions themselves. One thing that Nic said was that he wanted the form to be a bit more dynamic and to increase the number of warm leads that were coming through. So a very good way of starting this is to use the Typeform AI function here. And what you would do is just feed this prompt in, or type a prompt from scratch, hit this, and then you get a series of recommendations from Typeform as to how you can improve the form. Okay, so the AI has suggested some extra questions to include in order to better qualify the leads, and then we can then use those questions to score leads and triage them based on what people are answering. So one of the questions, for example, was where will these photos be used? Because maybe that affects the price that people are paying and the quality of the lead as a result. This one stays the same, but then it's asking what style of photography do you need? And again, I think it's great that Nic has included actual photos they've used from their various shoots. And then when do you need the photos? A classic lead qualification question is around urgency. So yeah, I agree with the AI recommendation here. And in terms of the lead qualification itself, we've turned on the lead qualification mode within Typeform. Now what you can do with this is it allows you to set rules on your questions. So you can have scores assigned to each answer, and then that will allow you to have a final kind of lead score for each submission that you get. Another thing that the AI suggested was to move this email question later on in the form. At the moment, it's like the second question, which can create some friction. So you're going to want to move this after the questions around their requirements, so they feel that they've already kind of committed here and that they're about to get value in terms of their free estimate, and they'll be more likely to complete at this point. And you can include the email question here within the contact selection just to kind of bunch it all together and have this as the required field. And then you can put a partial submit point here to make sure that data is saved. So the existing form had this final question that was any notes for your shoot, which is an open text question asking for more details. What we've done is we've changed this to a clarify with AI question. This then allows you to clarify, as the name suggests, a bit more info about their shoot. So let's see how it works. So tell us a bit more about your product. It's a gold lawnmower for the discerning gardener, right? So I add that. And then the form automatically generates a follow-up question. What unique features does this gold lawnmower offer? It can fly. Let's see what it thinks of that. So it always asks 2 follow-up questions based on the first question. Now, once the person has completed the form, we're going to redirect them to a different outcome based on their lead score. For example, you can redirect somebody to book a call if they're a very high intent customer, and then you can route people based on their score. So when we get to the final question, if their lead score is greater than 8, then it looks like they could be a great fit. So we redirect them to that Calendly screen. Also, with the lead qualification mode, you can redirect people to different ending screens based on their lead score. So for example, if they score under 8, you might have this one. If they're a higher, warmer lead, you might want to say that they'll get their estimate within 24 hours. If you want to take things a stage further, you can even manage those contacts within Typeform. Now you can have different lists for different segments of respondents. So based on the lead scoring, we've been able to set up different lists here for cooler, warmer, hotter leads, etc. And all you do is you just filter based on the lead score range, or you can add filters based on anything else really. So any other sort of data that you've collected in the form you can use to create segmentation. And then if you want to go a stage further, you can use automations. You could create an automation, for example, when a contact is added to the cooler lead segment, that sends them an email thanking them for filling out the form and to let them know that their estimate is on the way. Likewise, you could send an email to yourself or your team when a contact is added to the warm leads list, and this will allow you to get notifications or have your team act upon those warm leads as soon as they come in. Another cool thing you can do is add a video to the welcome screen. That might make it a little bit more welcoming. I did see this great, very professional video on their YouTube page. So we can just add that in here, and it just gives that bit of extra personalization. Okay, so let's quickly look at the final form. So we have that new welcome screen with the clearer CTA and the welcome video in there. We have the extra qualification questions in here, again showing off the amazing photography that the company are actually producing, and these are as the person goes through being scored and the lead score is being created. We've assimilated the email within the contact block and put that towards the end of the form, and then we've used the clarify with AI to get richer insights into what the person is looking for. And then we've added that extra qualification and action at the end to redirect the person based on their final lead score. Okay, so that's it for this tune-up. I hope that was helpful for you, Nic. Well, I'm actually quite pleased with what I did there. Just to recap, we added a welcome screen with a video to help bring the brand to life. We added lead scoring and then used those lead scores to create segmented contact lists. And then we added a Calendly question to set up calls with warmer leads even faster. That wraps this edition of Quick Fixes. Thanks once again to Nic for sending in your form. And more importantly, thanks to me for the great work that I did on fixing the form. If you want your form tuned up, just submit it in the link below. We may even feature you in an upcoming episode. And if you enjoy this content, don't forget to like this video and subscribe to the channel so you never miss an episode again. Stay tuned.